Today Daphne has a driving test. Even though she has studied very carefully, she still feels nervous and afraid that she might fail, but the others in the Mystery Inc. team cheer her on, telling her she will definitely succeed. After all, if even Scooby-Doo and Shaggy managed to get their driver's licenses, then this should be as easy as pie. Yet Daphne's worry isn't baseless, because the moment she starts the car, she crashes it straight into a tree. Meanwhile, at Sly Base Earth, an airport where impossible flights are launched and the energy of celebrity life is bursting, billionaire Sly Baron, who is a man passionate about extreme sports, has decided to go on a space trip. Those joining him include Miss Shannon, a famous Class A astronaut, two retired astronauts, Mr. Zip Elvin and Mr. Colt Steelcase, and Mr. Uvenius Botango, a football star. In addition, Baron promised to give away 5 free tickets to some lucky guests, and those 5 turned out to be none other than the members of Mystery Inc. Fred is thrilled about the trip. He never wants to take off his spacesuit. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, on the other hand, are simply happy that they won't have to worry about food anymore. While Shannon chats with the team, she compliments Daphne on her beautiful hair, which makes Daphne want to boast even more about how smooth it feels. At the same time, billionaire Sly Baron shows up in a suit that could not be more extravagant, a suit made entirely of dollar bills, flaunting the fact that he has nothing but money and plenty of it. He also takes the chance to advertise the space souvenirs being sold across the hall. Meanwhile, Shannon brings up the training test that Mystery Inc. had gone through. Everyone earned good marks, but Daphne was the only one to achieve a perfect score. This makes even someone as brilliant as Velma, for the very first time, feel a twinge of jealousy toward her own friend. Soon after everyone boards the spaceship Sly Star 1, suddenly Shannon turns to Daphne and asks her to help pilot the ship for takeoff. Without hesitation, Daphne agrees and leaves the others behind to join Shannon. Fred, meanwhile, chooses to spend time with the 2 older astronauts, Mr. Zip Elvin and Mr. Colt Steelcase. That leaves Velma alone talking with Ridley and Mr. Clark Sparkman. Then the countdown begins, and within just 3 seconds the Sly Star 1 lifts off, before the cheers of the crowd and the comically exaggerated expressions of the astronauts. When the Sly Star 1 reaches its cruising altitude, the co-host android model HAM immediately appears to serve the crew. Meanwhile, Fred and Daphne admire the breathtaking beauty of space, though Fred is far more excited about helping Zip and Colt with the ship's maintenance than simply gazing at the stars. At the same time, Shannon and Daphne's friendship begins to blossom, and Daphne feels grateful to Shannon for choosing her. Elsewhere, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are wandering around when they suddenly catch sight of a dark shadow. They laugh it off, thinking it's just their overactive imagination after watching too much television, unaware that a real alien monster is lurking. Meanwhile, Velma is with Ridley and Clark. Ridley tells them she once saw an alien with her own eyes. To prepare for a possible fight, she has trained extensively and even demonstrates her skills in front of Velma and Clark. Not only that, she also has a video as proof to make her story more convincing. Oh wait, that was the wrong one. This is the right video. A monster unlike any creature on Earth. Back with Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, the two are thrilled about the space food and are about to open a door when HAM suddenly reappears. The android warns them, "We are not the only ones here," before leaving abruptly. Heavy footsteps echo through the corridor, frightening Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, until they realize it's only the football star Uvenius. They quickly express their admiration, saying they want to become great athletes like him. They even ask him to help open the iron door so they can grab some food. Meanwhile, the alien monster begins its attack, starting with the Sly Star 1's electrical wiring. Fred and Daphne are talking with Zip and Colt. Daphne voices her fear about the alien monster, but Zip and Colt dismiss it at once. "We've been out here for decades and never seen any strange creatures," they insist. The 4 are still discussing when suddenly the alarm blares, red lights flashing across the cabin. They rush off to investigate and accidentally run into Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. Together they hurry to the control room, where Shannon informs them that the Sly Star 1 has been punctured by a massive hole. Oxygen is leaking out rapidly, and if no one repairs it, everyone on board will suffocate. As they watch the recorded footage of the incident, they finally see the alien monster. Even in such a desperate situation, survival must come first. They have just over 1 minute before the oxygen is completely gone. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy suggest returning to Earth, but Mr. Zip shakes his head and says there simply isn't enough time. In the midst of chaos that seems utterly hopeless, billionaire Sly suddenly appears and announces that there is a place everyone can go. His ship, the Sly Star 1, swiftly flies to the far side of the moon. where everyone lays eyes on a secret resort Sly has been building for the past decade. He calls it Sly Moon Prime Resort and promises it will become the perfect stopover for future space adventures, although the resort is still under construction. Sly explains that the air generators are already up and running, allowing everyone to safely remove their helmets. Suddenly, an elderly man with a weathered face shows up. Looking nervous yet excited to welcome visitors after so many years, Sly introduces him as his trusted right-hand man and also his twin brother. He is Sly Baron and his sibling is Hudson Baron. It seems that spending too much time alone on the moon makes Hudson act rather strangely. Not only does he befriend slice robots known as the Slybots, but he also relies on the most advanced one, Caroline Prime, a machine capable of moving thousands of crates within minutes. While Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are thrilled by all the high-tech wonders, Eugenius shows clear distrust, unwilling to believe in anything other than humans. Hearing this, Shannon reassures everyone that she has carefully checked all of Caroline Prime's protocols and confirms that it is completely safe. The group then splits up to inspect the Sly Star 1, but Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, of course, become more interested in racing a lunar buggy. The two end up in a wild and almost life-threatening race across the moon's surface. As soon as they stop, they stumble upon the American flag and the footprints left by Neil Armstrong himself. Seizing the moment, they even claim the honor of being the first to perform ballet on the moon. But their joy doesn't last long as an uninvited guest appears. An alien monster suddenly chases after them, leaving Scooby-Doo and Shaggy with no choice but to run for their lives. Scooby-Doo seizes the moment when the creature is distracted and launches a rocket to blast it away. But that still isn't enough to make it give up. With Shaggy drifting helplessly in midair, Scooby-Doo has to speed the buggy not only to rescue him but also to escape the relentless monster. Just as the alien closes in on the buggy, Shaggy kicks it away and the two finally make it back safely to Sly Moon Prime Resort. The moment they see Eugenius, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy rush to tell him the whole story, but he doesn't see anything at all. At the same time, Fred, Daphne, Zip, and Colt are busy repairing the Sly Star 1. While tinkering, Fred accidentally traps Daphne in a strange liquid. To make matters worse, he even freezes himself with liquid nitrogen. Zip wants to rescue Fred, but Colt turns and asks if he notices something. That is the wonderful silence now that Fred has finally stopped talking. Meanwhile, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are strolling when Scooby-Doo suddenly spots the shadow of the alien monster. This time it does not hide, but it steps out into the open, making the two even more terrified. As they run, they stumble upon what looks like a food paradise. Eagerly, they grab 2 trays of food for themselves, only for the alien monster to appear again. With no other choice, they dart around the room and dodge its attacks. Even though the situation is hanging by a thread, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy still pause to take a few bites as if a little food might calm their nerves. Next, they scramble up onto a ceiling lamp, never expecting the alien to unleash ultrasonic waves. In the end, the two hang helplessly, like fish on a chopping board waiting for the monster's strike. Suddenly, the elevator doors slide open and a Slybot emerges. It quickly distracts the alien, buying Scooby-Doo and Shaggy a chance to escape. In their frantic run, they bump into Fred, Daphne, Zip, and Colt. Breathless, they recount the monster's sighting in the dining hall, but when the others rush there, they find only chaos and wreckage. The trouble doesn't end there when billionaire Sly suddenly arrives and announces that someone has sabotaged the radio line, cutting off their contact with Earth. The atmosphere grows tense, but exhaustion has drained everyone. Shannon suggests what they need now is simply some rest, and the group agrees, yet the Mystery Inc. refuses to let the matter slide. While they discuss, Velma and Daphne get into an argument. Daphne accuses Velma of being jealous that Daphne scores higher marks and has smoother and shinier hair. Fred quickly interrupts the quarrel, declaring that he has a plan to trap the alien monster. With confidence, he calls it the greatest alien trap ever devised, noticing Ridley's obsession with the creature. Velma asks what she would think if it truly exists. Ridley replies with chilling certainty. Phase 1, they infiltrate and probe for the weaknesses of humankind. Phase 2, they invade Earth with a mighty army and the world's famous landmarks fall one by one. Phase 3, they enslave humanity, forcing us to strip Earth of its resources until there is nothing left. But Fred doesn't see it that way. To him, someone must stand up against their oppression. At last, warriors from the shadows reveal themselves to protect their Earth. When the enemy comes, even the women rise to fight. Everyone wears wigs to make their hair look long and wield hairdryers as weapons. Not only that, Shaggy uses his unmatched gaming skills to crush the alien monsters, but for Velma, teamwork is what truly matters. Instead of splitting up and acting alone, They join forces against the alien invasion. As for Scooby-Doo, he has his own method. He knows for certain that no one can resist Scooby snacks. Food is always the most effective bargaining tool. Realizing the story drifts further from reality, so Ridley walks away. Right then the lights flicker out and Fred realizes the alien monster has arrived. He quickly sends Scooby-Doo and Shaggy to act as bait, but Fred doesn't expect the alien to be a step ahead. It destroys the power source of the Sly Moon Prime Resort. Everyone suddenly floats in zero gravity, yet Scooby-Doo and Shaggy stay calm because they have food. While relaxing, they accidentally run into the alien, which immediately chases them and forces them to run for their lives. Before long, they reach Velma and Daphne's trap, but the alien comes out unscathed. Next is Fred's trap, which finally pins it down, yet even that is not enough. Fred sprays liquid nitrogen to freeze the creature. At that moment, everyone gathers to see the alien with their own eyes, but Velma doesn't think so. Inside the suit is Shannon, who else fits the role of the alien monster better than an astronaut. Using her expertise, Shannon adjusts the frequency of the micro-radar transmitter into ultrasonic waves. Then she uses holograms, pre-recorded videos, and audio to conceal her whereabouts whenever she wants. She also knows every path around the Sly Star 1 and the Sly Moon Prime Resort, so she can come and go at will. Shannon has been plotting this for a year. She admits she feels it is unfair that billionaire Sly makes space travel look so easy and safe. Jealousy drives her to sabotage the Sly Star 1, launch an alien attack, and prove to the world that space travel is extremely dangerous, something only trained astronauts should attempt. To make her plan believable, Mr. Zip and Mr. Colt play their parts. A football star, Mr. Uvenius, makes sure the world is watching. Ridley is the one who confirms to Earth that aliens are real, and Clark walks away with a sensational story. But the only thing Shannon doesn't predict is that the Mystery Inc. team wins the competition. That forces her to improvise in her plan. She deliberately tries to drive a wedge between Velma and Daphne. Even though she is exposed, Shannon already has a backup plan. "I think no one will return to Earth except me," she says. It turns out Shannon has planted bombs all around the Sly Moon Prime Resort to erase every trace. Before leaving on the Sly Star 1, she even flashes a triumphant smile just to provoke everyone. But what Shannon doesn't expect is that Hudson still has a backup ship. For a moment it looks like they are saved, only to realize it is just a model. Just kidding, because the real ship is one Hudson secretly builds while living alone on the moon. Billionaire Sly asks why Hudson has never told him about this. Hudson admits that it is almost impossible to survive alone on the moon for so many years. So he builds the ship in case he ever needs to leave, but he chooses to stay to guard this place for his brother. Understanding Hudson's heart, Sly apologizes again and again for not being there when Hudson needed him most. The moment grows emotional, but they all have to push aside their tears and think of escape, because the bombs are about to go off, when the only exit is suddenly blocked. Co-host android model HAM panics. It turns out he is not a robot at all, but an actor hired to play one. Uvenius tries to push the debris aside but fails, then turns to check what is inside. Seeing a pile of snacks, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy immediately put their expertise to work. In no time, the boxes grow light enough for everyone to move, but the trouble doesn't end there. Shannon hacks into Caroline Prime and sends her to attack the group. Someone has to stay behind to stop it, and Uvenius volunteers. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy can't abandon their idol, so they jump in to help. 3 against 1, and before long, Caroline Prime is reduced to a heap of scrap metal. Meanwhile, the others finish their preparations to launch the ship, but suddenly pieces of metal fall straight onto their heads, knocking them unconscious. Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Uvenius rush in after them, only to be knocked out as well. Even Ridley, who is still waving his arms around, collapses instantly. In the end, only Velma and Daphne remain conscious, so they are forced to pilot the ship. At first, Daphne trembles with fear. She can't even handle the mystery machine, so how can she fly a spaceship? But Velma encourages her and reminds her that she was the only one close enough to Shannon to watch how Shannon handled the controls. With no other choice, Daphne lays her hands on the wheel and starts the ship. When the others wake up, they witness the collapse of the billion-dollar Sly Moon Prime Resort. Then comes the long journey back to Earth. On the other hand, Shannon pretends to be heartbroken, lying that the alien monster has wiped out the entire crew. A tragic scene I will never forget, she claims. But as the others return to Earth, they bring with them the recording of Shannon's full confession. The truth is clear that she is a cunning woman who disguised herself as the alien monster. The police immediately cuff Shannon and lead her to prison. Afterward, the Mystery Inc. team turns to Daphne, teaching her how to drive a car. This time she feels confident, as after all, if she can fly a spaceship, then a four-wheeled car is nothing.